Hello, NIDO members, and thank you so much for attending another session of our regular office hours. This is the very first time that we've been on Thursday at 10:30 a.m. PST, and we transitioned over to Thursday from Friday because we want to be able to invite some of our thought leaders, and Thursday just seemed to be a better day. So this is just me getting everybody acclimated to the new schedule. Thursday's the day, and from now on we'll be doing it Thursday at 10:30 a.m. Pacific. And I'm also hoping to have some pretty awesome guests available to talk about all things Montessori, and it won't just be marketing. All of it's going to probably have a marketing bend here and there, but we'll also be talking about Montessori kind of just in general, how you conduct tours, how you do your admissions process, that sort of thing. So that's exciting. And if you would like to be involved, please feel free to shoot me an email or let us know if you have somebody that you'd like us to interview in particular. You can send a message to hello@nidomarketing.com. And without further ado, I'm going to dive into it. If you're watching on Easy Webinar, please feel free to chat in any of your questions into the chat pane that's on your right-hand corner. If you're watching on Facebook, you can always just comment on the video and I'll get to your questions as soon as possible. One of the first things I want to point out is if you're not subscribed to our blog, I'd really strongly recommend you doing that. I've had a few questions from people asking where all this information is coming from, because people on the Facebook group and within the forum are mentioning content that we're putting out. And most of it will find its way to the blog, even if that's not where it started. So the blog is a really good resource for you to check regularly and just make sure that you're getting email notifications from. If you would like, when you're logged in as a NIDO member, you can actually go to the blog, and on the right-hand side, you'll see this little section that says either following or not following. I have mine set to not following because I'm an administrator, and so I'll receive administrative notifications. But as a user, you might want to set this to follow. And if you set it to follow, then you're going to get a notification of every blog that goes live, as well as some of the comments on the blog, which end up being pretty cool. This most recent blog is about Montessori content going viral. And one of the things that we've pointed out quite a few times is some of the blogs we're producing for our third and fourth plane clients. Some of that content is actually getting quite a bit in the way of traction. We've seen as many as a few hundred shares and a lot of comments, and interestingly, some other networks picking up those articles and kind of stealing them from us, which is something we try to manage. But it's also it's imitation is the purest form of flattery, or whatever they say. So this content talks about some of the blogs that we've written that have gone viral, and what you can do to kind of take advantage of that content. So if you're a third or fourth plane member, this content is yours. You're already paying for it, so I strongly recommend you use it, because you will see, I think, the potential for quite a bit in the way of lift as far as online visibility and social shares is concerned. And if you're not a third or fourth plane content, that's no big deal either. You still have some of the content, the NIDO content, available to you in the resources section. So you can use that if you need to, create or add content to your site. And this also, I think, just does a good job of explaining, how content can be used, how organic search ranking is involved, etc. So even if you're not using our content, I think you can take quite a bit away from this little piece of this blog here. Another thing I'd like to mention is make sure you're paying attention to the news you can use. Matt shoots a video every single week, and we send out a weekly email that just explains what's going on, offers some updates, new member updates, additional promotions, if any, just kind of some fun and good stuff. So this week, hopefully you didn't miss it, but everybody from the second plane on up now has access to a really free and exciting resource. And that resource is... we're using Opt-in Monster, and we're using Opt-in Monster in order to help you gate your tuition. And so all of our second plane members now have access to a free Opt-in Monster tuition gate. And I'll show you what that looks like. If you go to our template site, which is just nidosite.com. Over here in the bottom right-hand corner, this little icon that you see, this says this is a demo. When you click on it, it'll open up a form, and the form can have whatever call to action we want. So it can say whatever we want. We have some pretty traditional language that we use, but if you want to modify that language, it's no big deal. But essentially what you're offering here is a copy of your tuition. Now, the tuition rate is or the tuition gate, excuse me, is an excellent way of getting relevant parent contact information. If they want to see your tuition, that means that they're closer to a buying decision than just kind of your average user or visitor. And so we strongly recommend gating tuition. It's been one of the strongest lead generating tools that we've had for any of our schools. It's actually the reason that we're giving it to our second plane members for free. We want to see you successful. And after an internal discussion, we decided this is one of the best ways to ensure that that happens for our second plane members. So second, third, and fourth plane, all for everybody, this is available. But second plane, I think this is probably most applicable to you because we've been helping the third and fourth plane members get this live in other ways. The opt-in monsters are really easy embed. You just fill out a form that provides us with all of this information, and we'll actually add this to your site for you as long as you're on a WordPress site. And the way this works, parents they'll see this little call to action throughout your website, and it's really cool because it's consistent. It just sort of stays there. So it's nice and casual and soft touch. We're not too in their face with it. But if they're ever interested, then they can just pop up this little form. They fill out their name, their email address, and their phone number. And then when they submit, they instantly get dropped into your MailChimp, which is cool because now you're keeping track of everybody who's requested your tuition. In addition to that, MailChimp instantly sends them your tuition information, which is cool because you're fulfilling your promise immediately. There's no managerial process here. It's nothing you need to worry about. And then you also receive an instant email notification letting you know that somebody requested your tuition. Now, some of our schools have been following up on these leads and some of them have not. It's your choice as to what you choose to do. We, of course, recommend following up with the leads because they're viable in that they've kind of intrinsically qualified themselves as being interested. I don't know that you need to be salesy at all. I'm sure you wouldn't be, but what I recommend schools doing is just hopping on the phone and saying, "Hey, I noticed you downloaded our tuition. I want to see if you had any questions about our school or any questions about Montessori in general." And then take a very consultative approach. Just help, just provide value, and that's a great way to earn the trust of a parent. And again, this is absolutely free. So the email went out already. And that's what you just saw is called exit intent, which is also really cool. That's something else that we can do for schools. If somebody's going to leave your site or leave the page, then we can trigger a pop-up that sort of it offers like a last ditch effort at capturing their contact information, and it can be very effective. So if you're interested, we sent out an email to all of our second plane members, and the email kind of explains what it is that we're offering and how to go about opting in, which is just filling out this form. If you fill out this form, what we'll do is we'll opt you into our onboarding form, which will ask you for very basic information, access to your website, your tuition information, etc. And that'll give us the opportunity to build this mechanism for you, and then kind of install it on your site and test it and do all of that good stuff. So free to use, no strings attached. Please take advantage of this because we think it's a pretty significant value. Moving on in the members area, you're going to notice next week, actually, the new content is going to be available. And one of the things I wanted to highlight is the fact that in the recent updates section, we will post anytime there's a new course or new content. And so when the content is available for June, that'll be live typically by May 1st or thereabouts. We'll post in the recent updates. And so if you're ever curious about some of the core stuff that you've missed, especially some of the primary content assets, the recent updates is the best place to go. And that means that by May 1st, all of our second plane members and up will have all of your regular social posts. And then our third and fourth plane members, you're going to have your blogs and your emails. And please, please, please take advantage of those. That's a huge value add. If you're not using them, I think you're missing out on an opportunity. And if you need help, let us know. Oren actually created a really awesome course on how to manage your WordPress site, which will help you schedule blogs. And he also created some course collateral on scheduling emails, which we're going to be taking live shortly as well. So, the tutorial's there if you have any need to kind of learn how to use the content. And just to remind you, all of this content lands in the resources section. You'll notice that the blogs, emails, and social posts are here at the top. Blogs and emails are only available to third and fourth plane members, and social posts are available to our second plane members. And again, please make sure you're taking advantage of that. You can pre-schedule everything. Pre-schedule your social posts, pre-schedule your emails, pre-schedule your blogs. And so, it probably will take you about an hour to do all that. But in an hour, you just completed an entire content schedule for a month. So 1 hour allows you to communicate on a pretty regular basis with all of your parents and prospects across multiple channels for an entire month. So I think that's well worth it. Um, yeah, and again, if you need help with that, please let us know. And that's all I have. If you have any questions, please feel free to chat in or comment on the Facebook video. I'll go ahead and keep this live just for a few more minutes um, to make sure that nobody has any pending questions. But otherwise, I will plan on seeing everybody next Thursday. Thanks so much for joining.